Why would the US risk a $100 million stealth jet just to take out a $70,000 drone? In the dead of night, the Navy deployed its most advanced fighter for a mission that looks like total overkill. On Tuesday, the 3rd of February 2026, the USS Abraham Lincoln, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, was transiting the Arabian Sea approximately 500 miles off the southern coast of Iran. As seen on this map, an Iranian drone carrier launched a UAV from this position, while the USS Abraham Lincoln was sailing toward the Strait of Hormuz. During this transit, a destroyer within the carrier strike group's defensive network detected an Iranian Shahed 139. It was flying on an aggressive profile directly toward the carrier. Unlike previous incidents where ship-based missiles or close-in weapon systems were used, this interception was unique. It was executed by the carrier's primary air wing, specifically an F-35C Lightning stealth fighter. The engagement began long before the drone was visible to the naked eye. The Lincoln was escorted by Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, which are equipped with the Advanced Aegis Combat System and Spy-1D radar. Simultaneously, an E-2D Advanced Hawkeye was airborne, providing over-the-horizon radar coverage. Radar operators detected a small, low observable contact moving at a consistent speed toward the carrier. The trajectory was flagged as aggressive because it did not respond to standard de-escalatory hails and maintained a collision course with the high-value unit. The contact was identified as a Shahed 139, a medium-altitude, long-endurance, unmanned aerial vehicle capable of carrying guided munitions or acting as a suicide drone. The commander of the carrier strike group chose to intercept the threat at a safe distance rather than letting it get within range of the ship's own defenses. An F-35C Lightning II was vectored toward the target. Utilizing its advanced sensor fusion, the F-35C pilot locked onto the drone from miles away. The pilot's helmet-mounted display projected the drone's location, speed, and altitude directly onto their visor, allowing them to track the target through the clouds and darkness. Once visual confirmation was established and the drone failed to turn away, the rules of engagement for self-defense were met. The pilot received authorization to engage and maneuvered into a firing solution. The pilot fired an AIM-9X Sidewinder air-to-air missile. The missile tracked the drone's heat signature, detonating and destroying the airframe instantly. The pilot performed a battle damage assessment pass, confirming the drone had splashed and was no longer a threat. The carrier continued its transit unharmed. Why did the Navy use a multi-million-dollar F-35C fighter jet to shoot down a relatively cheap drone, rather than using the ship's own guns or missiles? The decision to use an F-35C instead of ship-based defenses comes down to distance and safety. First, naval strategy relies on a concept called defense in depth. Engaging threats as far away from the ship as possible is the priority. If a drone is shot down by the ship's guns, it is already within 2 miles, far too close for comfort. Using a jet allows the Navy to intercept the threat 50 to 100 miles away, ensuring that even if the interception fails initially, there is time for a second attempt. Second, a pilot provides visual identification. The radar blip cannot tell you if a drone is carrying a camera or a warhead. A pilot can fly up to the drone, look at it, and provide better intelligence than a sensor alone. Finally, the presence of a fighter jet is a powerful tool for de-escalation. The pilot can signal a warning, and if the drone ignores it, the intent is clearly hostile, justifying the use of force. But what if the F-35C missed their targets coming towards them? Well, the carrier have these close support weapon systems. It can carry 2 50 caliber machine guns at the front. Moving a bit further are 2 Phalanx weapon systems on both sides. Additionally, an anti-aircraft Sea Sparrow missile has been added just close to the Phalanx. At the back, you will find Sea Sparrow missiles on both sides and a close support system like the Phalanx or the CRAM. Inside this close-in support system is the Q-band search radar. Just below it is the Q-band tracking and gun-laying radar, and beneath that is the 20mm Gatling gun, which spits out 4,500 rounds per minute. All these rounds are fed from the ammunition drum. When a missile speedboat tries to get within a range of about 2 miles, the close-in support system activates and spits rounds, dismantling an enemy boat in seconds. Due to the concept of fast-flying drone warfare like this one, the Sea Sparrow can destroy it with utmost precision. It has a range of around 50 kilometers, which is 30 miles. But why is the U.S. positioning its aircraft carrier in the Strait of Hormuz? Well, according to the U.S., Iran has poured deeper concrete. A single bomb might not be enough. They need the aircraft carrier to maintain a no-fly zone in this part of the Middle East. This opens the door for the B-2 Spirit to slip through defenses and drop the massive bunker buster bomb. So the U.S. Air Force executes a tactic known as double tapping. The first bomber drops a GBU-57. It's a massive ordnance penetrator. It slams into the mountain, blowing open the newly reinforced blast doors. Seconds later, a second bomber drops its NOP directly into the crater created by the first. The second bomb travels vastly deeper into the mountain before detonating. The resulting shockwave doesn't just damage the facility, it collapses the mountain from the inside out. The final phase marks the biggest shift from 2025. We aren't just hitting nuclear sites anymore. We're targeting the regime's survival. From the depths of the Persian Gulf, the U.S. Georgia launches a salvo of Tomahawk cruise missiles. Their targets are not factories, but people and command centers. IRGC barracks and intelligence HQs are struck to sever the chain of command, fueling the crackdown on protesters. Finally, to prevent a retaliatory strike on Israel or Saudi Arabia, the U.S. targets the missile cities, the vast underground depots in the Zagros Mountains. The goal is to trap the regime's ballistic arsenal underground, burying their sword before they can swing it. The second strike is designed to be the final word. By combining cyber warfare, space dominance, and the heaviest conventional ordnance on Earth, the U.S. creates a scenario of total overmatch. But here's the question. The B-2 Spirits already hit these targets during Operation Midnight Hammer. So why do we need a second strike? The reason is simple. Intelligence shows they moved critical nuclear material out of the bunkers before and after the first strike occurred. So let's go back and recap exactly what happened during Operation Midnight Hammer. The U.S. deployed 6 B-2 Spirit bombers, each armed with GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, deep penetrating bunker buster bombs designed for hardened targets like Fordo. These strikes targeted the mountain ridge directly above the tunnel network and underground enrichment halls, aiming to penetrate the fortified layers and disrupt Iran's nuclear operations. The B-2s also targeted at least 6 of the known tunnel entrances leading into the facility. Post-strike satellite imagery, along with assessments from weapons experts, confirmed that at least 3 of the 4 main entrances sustained significant damage. Large craters were visible near these access points, indicating a direct hit and probable disruption to the facility's internal infrastructure. Roughly an hour before the B-2s crossed into Iranian airspace, a U.S. Navy submarine launched over 30 cruise missiles targeting the Isfahan nuclear site. A simultaneous attack from sea and air created chaos and stretched Iranian defenses thin, adding another layer of confusion to an already overwhelming assault. At around 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:10 a.m. in Iran, the lead B-2 bomber released 2 massive ordnance penetrators over the Fordo nuclear facility. Over the next 25 minutes, 14 MOP bombs were dropped across Fordo and Natanz, tearing into the reinforced underground complexes. Almost simultaneously, the cruise missiles struck Isfahan with devastating precision. With their mission complete, the B-2s turned back and exited Iranian airspace just as silently as they had arrived. Despite extensive damage to the targeted sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, Iran secretly relocated its 400-kilogram stockpile of 60% enriched uranium to an undisclosed location before the U.S. airstrikes on its nuclear facilities. Unusual truck activity at Fordo. In the days leading up to the strikes, satellite imagery revealed a convoy of 16 cargo trucks lined up along the main road leading to the tunnel entrance of the Fordo fuel enrichment plant. This was highly unusual, as such large-scale vehicle activity had not been observed before, suggesting preparations to transport sensitive materials. The following day, most of the trucks had disappeared from the site, while a few were spotted about a kilometer away from the tunnel entrance. The scale and timing of this movement strongly indicated the removal of critical assets, most likely the enriched uranium. Tunnel sealing operations. Additional satellite images showed trucks and bulldozers positioned near the main tunnel entrances. Some vehicles appeared to be involved in sealing off the tunnels, likely in an effort to prevent inspection or further attacks. These actions suggest a coordinated effort to secure or hide what had been stored inside. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency and U.S. intelligence, The underground enrichment halls and tunnel entrances sustained very significant damage. Some tunnels will reportedly collapse or backfilled in anticipation of an airstrike. Above-ground infrastructure, including power systems and facilities linked to uranium conversion and metal production, was heavily damaged or destroyed. Leaked reports from the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency based on initial battle damage assessments by U.S. Central Command confirm the credibility of these findings. However, the assessments also note that the strikes did not eliminate the core components of Iran's nuclear program. Most centrifuges and enriched uranium stockpiles survived intact. As a result, the DI estimates that while Iran's nuclear ambitions have been delayed, they have only been set back by a few months, not dismantled. But let's take a look at the possible scenarios where they have hidden these nuclear centrifuges. Evidence and expert analysis suggest Iran may have moved nuclear material from Fordo to several possible locations. One likely option is the underground tunnel network at sites like the Esfahan nuclear complex, which reportedly remain intact after recent airstrikes. Natanz, with its history of underground construction, could also house some of the material. Major nuclear facilities like Isfahan and Natanz have the capacity to store such material, even after partial damage. Iran may also have relocated it to secret or undeclared sites, including military bases like Parchin or unknown underground bunkers. Dispersing the material across hidden locations would reduce the risk of total loss. We also made a deep dive into the sea, air, and land components of the nuclear triad, so subscribe for more videos to not miss a beat.